Welcome, everybody. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about breath and pain and grief. How do you breathe when you are in grief? How do you breathe when you're in pain? The world today is doing some very interesting things. Life is lifing. How we show up for that lifing, for me and my experience, and this is going to sound like a leap, an untrue statement, but it's found in my breath. Like how I show up for all that is basically how I show up in my breath. So if I'm not paying any attention to my breath while I'm in grief, while I'm in physical, emotional, or spiritual, psychological, energetic pain, I will allow that pain to dictate how I breathe. That unconscious process will trickle up and down through the afferent pathways that go from the body up to the brain and the afferent pathways that go from the brain down to the body. And so I will keep all of that information in my body and I will continue to recycle it if I'm not breathing consciously. And so I'm not talking about bypassing or manipulating until you no longer feel the pain. And neither am I also talking about wallowing in pain and feeling. I mean, it's possible, and I have a great many friends who are still there, to get stuck in the healing ghetto. I was there. I believed that lie that if you're always healing and always like essentially an open walking sore in process, that was somehow healing. And here's what I want to tell you that I've learned. Claim your healing, do the work, go test it out. Test it out. Make yourself uncomfortable. Put yourself in situations that are expansive, that are brand new, that are difficult, that are challenging, and see how it works. I have found that breathing the way I want to live, as cliche as that sounds, is actually true. That doesn't mean I always breathe big, full breaths, and that the metaphorical tie between breath and life means that you've always got to be breathing big, expansive, huge, hyperventilative breaths if you want to live a big life. In fact, big lives are often lived by very small, very measured, very metered breaths, because that will actually keep your CO2 tolerance, your carbon dioxide tolerance, high enough that your body will be able to effectively use oxygen. Your brain will stay online. You'll be able to think better, talk better, and do just about everything that you do in a superior way with less energy. And so the prevailing wisdom that breathe big, blow off all your steam, get some insights, and then continue to breathe in this exact way every day, and this will be the benefit. That's like everybody prescribing an Adderall for every person on the planet and saying, this will do exactly the same thing. Just take it. It's fine. And we all know how incorrect that is, prima facie, on its face. And so the individual nature of breath and the connection between how I think and feel in my body and how I'm breathing as a result of my thinking and feeling is what we're talking about. And that's what neuroacrobatics and my system/process has been and is. It was created from a place of extremity, pain you can't imagine. I had been given a near fatal overdose of vasoactive intestinal peptide without appropriate testing of my pancreatic lipase. What that means is I was shooting something up my nose I shouldn't have been shooting. Doctor prescribed, that then turned around and destroyed my pancreas and put me in the hospital in extreme scenarios of pain. It put me in an MRI that could neither read my breath nor my heart rate because both were so low, I was so close to dead. It put me eating bone broth and mung bean noodles for a year on all the opioids you could possibly get into your system, because opioids don't actually, at the end of the day, take away the pain of what feels like being the moment of impact kicked by a mule right here, over and over and over. Pancreatic pain is the mind-blowing pain that no one really lives to talk about. I'm lucky enough to live and tell you that I have survived that pain. It was challenging. I learned to eat all over again. I've had to learn to walk, had to learn to talk and think. This is not a Jeremiad of all of the different things, but how I've learned to breathe has been fashioned in the most impossible and difficult and challenging and inconceivable to the average human places on the planet. So I believe that I have uncovered something about God and breath and the universe through pain. Pain's a great teacher. Most people would prefer that they got their spiritual unfoldment rather than painful experience, as Emmett Fox puts it. However, painful experience has been my teacher and continues to be my teacher. Now, not always at the spiritual realm, but often in the physical realm. So, how do I breathe when you're in physical pain? You're watching this and you're like, yeah, that's great, guy. How do I breathe? Well, barely there breath is one of my favorites, and curiosity and interest are required for this. So, you find the place it hurts the most and you begin to actually lean into that place. So for me, it's nerve pain. I have a failed surgery that had, well, medical malpractice all over it, but what we know and what we can prove without the $250,000 investment in a lawsuit where I pay for all these experts and then we fight it out and we recuperate. I've simply chosen to love and forgive and let it go because I don't have $250,000 to throw at a lawsuit to recover the damage this has done to my life. And so forgiveness and the way I feel about that thing will actually affect the pain that I have. And I've been told I can't sit for more than 15 minutes. Well, I got some regenerative care and now I can sit for sometimes up to 3 hours before I lose feeling in my foot and the pain kicks up later. So I get electrical shock charges like someone's hooked me up to a car battery and at random throughout the day just goes whoop and turns it up to 10. So I'll be in the middle of something like this when all of a sudden I'll get that signal and I can't scream or shout or yell or say naughty words or do anything other than and lean into the place that it hurts the most with curiosity and interest. If you have curiosity and interest, any circumstance, even the worst of the worst, the wheels have come off, the car is on fire, everything's strewn all over the road, and literally that has happened. What now? Well, first of all, before I say what now, I want to say that's exactly the same level of stress as I just sold my company for $110 million, have all of the arrangements and affairs to take care of. I'm not sure who I am anymore because I've just spent my life building this thing. It's equally disruptive, super success and super worst case scenario. And so in that moment, my chops in the MRI, my chops in the observation ward with a private ward all my own for 2 weeks while they checked and made me comfortable because they thought I was going to die. All of that goes to give me the ability to show up for the very, very good and the very, very bad in a very, very unique way. So barely there breath is where you lean in with curiosity and interest and you begin to breathe into using your imagination into that space. Assign a taste, texture, sight, sound, smell, or sensation. Notice what you feel. Notice what's going on in that part of the body, and then begin to lean in and breathe with your imagination into that space. It's very simple. And as you breathe into and from that space and pay attention and notice, those shocks will go away. The sharp pain will go away. The numbness, the tingling, the discomfort. Stop calling it pain. The discomfort, the information that you get will change. And sometimes it will come back and it will be inconvenient because you'll be in the middle of a thing like this and suddenly it comes back. But what I've learned is that medication is only good to create enough space in my system to then be able to breathe again. Because sometimes with the situation that I have, breath is not enough. I'm a ninja at what I do. I'm unique. I'm gifted and talented at being what my friend and client calls an efficient sufferer. Meaning I can take all of this discomfort, have 5 million things going on at once, parse them all out, and do so until my body simply collapses. And then I take those signals and go, well, it's about to collapse. And so I'm going to take some time and lay down, reset, do my thing, and get back up again. And I do that throughout the day. And when I lay down, I do barely there breath, which is in the nose, out the nose. Just very subtle. Very, very, very subtle. Huffing and puffing and blowing off your CO2 is not helpful for the kind of pain that I'm dealing with. Now, emotional pain, sure, you might have a giant breakthrough. Good luck integrating it because they give you a class, you go to a yoga studio. Oh, we're going to do breath work. At the end of it, 60 minutes, you're up, out, bye, see ya. I do not recommend doing that for pain or grief, although you might have a giant cathartic release and an experience. That's okay. But subtle breath that pays attention to itself with your own imagination, leaning into areas of extreme discomfort with curiosity and interest is the magic formula. I do it all day, every day, and it works. Or I would be out there using all of the drugs available, and I would be just another opioid case and statistic. And I happen to use all of the tools at my disposal, all the biohacking, quote unquote, advanced cellular recovery and regeneration. All those tools. You can go to the Neuroacrobatics YouTube channel and look at them. PEMF, structured water. I work with sound healing, light, all of the very different modalities that are out there in sort of this hippified fashion. I've taken and appropriated to a Western appropriated model, which means I've taken what they have that is applicable here. That's a bad word, cultural appropriation. What I've done is I've taken what's true, what works for me, what works in my daily life, and I've said, thank you. I've extracted those, and I've done that from a number of styles and varieties of breath. And all of them have certain things in common. And that is eventually you get to the subtle energy. The advanced study of any style of breath will lead you to eventually less is more. And when less is more, sufficiency is attained. That's all I'm going to say about that. And pain, discomfort, information we don't love, sensation in my body that challenges my day, requires me to meet it with love. I wouldn't punch an obstreperous 5-year-old in the face. No, I would say, okay, you're being stubborn. Come here. What do you need? How can I love you? How can I care? And yet many of us greet our own bodies, the sensation in our bodies, with anger and a punch in the face, a quick couple of pills, and boom, we're on. So curiosity and interest, making space, allowing. Sometimes I just got to allow that I need to lay down. I can't show up all day, every day. And since my brother passed right after my grandma in rapid succession, I've had to take times when it's go time, it's deadline time, and go, you know what? I'm not going to be any good on that deadline if I show up now anyway. I'm not okay. I've got to take care of myself. And I do that, and then I show up 10 times better. Nail it in one take. Perfect. Every time. Because I took the time to rest. So if you can find a way to breathe with curiosity and interest into your pain, into your loneliness. How do I deal with when I feel lonely? I can't show up for life. I can't go to a lot of functions that other people go to, and they don't understand that because I don't walk around in a freaking wheelchair. I don't have my blue placard and a spinal implant. I don't have the accoutrements of a man who suffers from extreme disability or challenge. Because once I give in to that, it's over. Now I've worn that. That's my identity. I choose to believe that in spite of my circumstance, everyone, my pain, my grief, and the felt sense of loneliness and isolation that comes from being in a new city, believing things that put me at odds with most of the so-called wellness world because they are into a type of spirituality that has utterly failed me in the kind of extremity that I'm talking about. So I can't offer it to my clients or to anyone who comes to me because, quite frankly, that form of spirituality has failed. It has fallen on its face and proven itself to be counterproductive at the root. Now, you could play around for lifetimes with the trees and the leaves and the fruit, but if you get to the root of it, that spiritual path failed me utterly in my greatest time of need. So I have formed another spiritual path, but that spiritual path is also equally unpopular, unknown, and terrifying to the people who say they believe what I believe, aka the Christians. So I got these people over here who sort of believe what I believe, but they don't have a life that's big enough to really need God the way that they say they need God. I mean, they need God like a fucking thimble full of God. Oh, I got a thimble of God. I'm good. I'm like, could you please fill that other swimming pool up out there? Because I need about 18 more Olympic swimming pools of whatever the heck is out there bigger than me. I need help. So I'm new in a place. I don't really fit in with Southern Christian culture. Good luck. I don't fit in with fancy hot chocolate ceremonies, silent discos, crystals, and oming a lot with chakra rocks. That also has proven to be equally diaphanously thin and useless. So I have found a spirituality with my God in my breath that works for me, that's unique, that helps me show up as a not shitty human in a world that needs more not shitty humans. So when you're lonely, when you're hurting, when you're in pain, lean in with curiosity and interest. Lean in to discomfort. Lean into where it hurts and ask whatever you know is out there, whatever you can feel in that moment. Use your breath as a prayer and say, show me why it hurts. What is the lesson? What am I learning from this pain, this great teacher? And this is going to sound crazy, and I don't mean it in a bypassy way, but then give thanks. In fact, give thanks for the very first thing. When I got the news the morning my brother was died, it was my birthday, had died, my birthday morning. I got a text from my parents in the room, recovery room. Mom had just had surgery. And when my father said, your brother was killed yesterday, I immediately leapt out of bed and I began to give thanks. I began to give thanks for his life. I began to wrap myself and my breath and whatever I know that I call God around that situation. And I began to give thanks for his life, give thanks for the brilliance that he was, give thanks for the immediacy of his passing. It was not slow. And I began to consecrate, which means to set aside for a separate purpose, to pull it out of the shitty and put it in the not shitty because of gratitude. Can you find a way to make every breath a thank you? Every breath. I don't care how you breathe because the way you think while you breathe is more important. You can do shapes and numbers all your life. You can lay in cold tubs all your life. And all I've seen for the most part are a bunch of heavy breathing, cold adapted assholes. It has not made any difference in their spiritual progress. Not one iota. They were either spiritually good people before they came to breath, or they were not. But coming to breath and wellness and making yourself a guru, which is why I'm not a guru and I don't want to be one. I'm just another bozo on the bus like the rest of you who's seen some shit, wants to build a culture where people, hey, if you're fucked up, I'm fucked up. Let's all be fucked up together and get better. But let's not like lay around wallowing in a healing ghetto, feeling good in these bypassy breath sessions, and then going back out and living shitty, pathetic, fucked up lives that don't have any real value based on what we say we have that we're giving to the world. No, there's no value there. And so I would rather be just another me, just another guy that you can come and go, I see what he's doing there. I see where he's messed up. I see where he's living what he says. I see where he's not. I see where he could grow. I'd like to go live that with him. I'd like to join a group that's publicly imperfect, proud of it, lives in blockchain, and is moving forward through pain, discomfort, loneliness, grief, like all the real that doesn't work well on a weekend retreat marketing ploy on social media. It's not going to help you find your highest, best self, your best good. It's going to keep you from sucking the front side of a pistol when you're in more pain than you can actually take. It's going to keep you from crushing and snorting your opioids. It's going to keep you from being a dick to people you love. It's going to keep you from screaming at people when you can't take enough. I know because I've been on either side of the equation with enough people who are no longer here because they took their life. They've gone through multiple rehabs, or they're just living these shut down, tiny, lonely, miserable, isolated lives. I've been there with them in their pain, and I have shared pain too. And all I want to say is, don't punch out, don't quit, don't give up, don't stop before the miracle happens. Keep breathing small, beautiful, subtle breaths, or Big, amazing, beautiful, swirling, happy breaths. Pick your own breath, but breathe and feel your feelings. Assign taste, texture, sight, sound, smell, or sensation. Notice where it's swirling in the body. Move it around. Use your imagination. Play games with what feels like it's killing you. And I promise you won't die. You might feel like you're going to die. But if I'm here, it's proof that there's a loving, caring, divine authority in the universe that created us all, has our best interest in heart, and they love us. They care for us, and they want to be with us more than we can imagine. When I think about my Almighty and the love that's poured out on me, the prayers I'm getting from other people, and the abject joy in the midst of extreme sorrow and grief. I was about to go see my brother this weekend to bury grandma, and now he's getting buried too. The grief is real. But when it hurts and you're alone and you can't do it anymore, there's a power in your breath that I call God. You call it whatever you want. I said that last video. Steve the Purple Wombat. Doesn't matter to me, but please use your breath to explore the sensation in your body that you don't love. You can reach out here on this channel. You can find me at sageraider.com. I'm on socials minimally, but I'm on there. Instagram. Rarely do anything on Facebook, but I'm spending more time here talking to you because, well, my story and my history and why and how I got to be here has almost gone untold. I've almost died a number of times, and friends have asked me to please start to share my story. Next time, I think I want to talk about forgiveness, or soon, if not next time. I've had incredible opportunities that are literally front page news to forgive, to love. And I want to share that with you, not so you think I'm some freaking holy guy, but so that you understand that it's possible to actually love and forgive through the worst shit that could happen to a human. I know my role in bringing it onto me. It didn't happen to me, but I know what I put out into the universe and how it came back. And I'm also here to tell you sometimes shit's not fair. It's not balanced. It's not okay. And it wasn't your fault. And it doesn't matter. And how you think about it and how you forgive and how you love and how you move on into what I'm opportunistically inviting you into. Please, like, this is the chance to be a part of something and make it what you want, because I'm not going to be the guru. I'm just a guy in a sequin jacket once a month on an app to play some songs because I love you and I want to give you a place to breathe. That's me for the day. I hope this is helpful. How to breathe when you're lonely and pain. Curiosity, interest, barely there breath, subtle breath. Go to the bottom of the exhale, drop it, relax, enjoy it, stay there, pick it up just enough to drop it again. That's it. I love you, YouTube. Have a beautiful day, planet Earth. I'll see you out there.